Hi, I'm Julie, and I just got my hysterectomy and bladder sling surgery done. And I didn't realize some of the things that might have happened to me while I had my surgery and after. Lots of things I wasn't expecting, so I thought it'd be a good idea to get on here and talk to some of you girls about um, what you might expect, or some of the complications that might happen, and just how common those are, or anything that you might need to know. It happened a couple months ago, and I'm just now recovering from it, actually. It was kind of a big surgery. My cervix was falling out, and I was having some bladder issues. Nothing major, just kind of what everybody our age goes through. Um, about this time, you can't jump around or anything. Kind of a leakage issue. And my doctor said that I needed a hysterectomy, but they would leave the ovaries in, and they would use my cervix. When they tied it back up, they would use my cervix to attach the bladder sling to. So I would have things going on while I was in there. And I'm pretty scared of surgeries and things. This is only my second, big surgery, and kind of wanted to know what was going on. My biggest fear was a catheter, because I'd never had one before. And they told me that they would have to put a breathing tube in, but it would all be when I was out, never feel a thing. So that was true. And that they would also need to have a catheter in. It's kind of a lengthy surgery. I guess it was going to be about, they said about 4 hours for this surgery, but they had planned on uh, tying the cervix up, putting the bladder sling up against that, taking out the fallopian tubes, um, taking out my uterus, and they said that they would leave the ovaries so that I wouldn't go through the change uh, immediately. Well, as they put me into my operating state, found out that I was inverted, kind of on my head-ish, as I was getting the surgery done. And that was kind of an issue when I woke up, but I'll explain that in a minute. But the surgery that was supposed to be 4 hours turned into a 5.5 hour surgery. Um, that being said, I had a few more issues than they had realized. The ovaries had some cysts on them, so they decided to take those out, which meant menopause immediately when I woke up. It was going to start day one. And they said my bowels were on the wrong side of my body. So he was going in with the robotic arms, and then he tried to move the bowels over, and when he did that, he scraped the bottom of my bladder. And he went ahead and tied that up, but because the bladder was bruised, he said that they had to leave the catheter in after surgery. That was the decision made while I was out. And as I said, catheterization is a huge fear of mine, so as I woke up, I wasn't very excited about that. But they ended up taking my ovaries out, like I said, being inverted for 5.5 hours, or probably most of that time. When I woke up, I had a catheter, and that turned me into a 2-year-old. Tears started coming. Wasn't sure how I was going to handle that. And then they explained that the reason that my mouth and my lips and everything were so dry, and my face was horribly tight and swollen, and my kids said I didn't even look the same, that was because of being on my head, and the blood rushed to my head and everything, and my face just felt funny. I don't know how common that actually is, but he also said that since the bladder was bruised, I'd had to take the catheter home with me. So I had a Foley catheter in me with a bag, and I had to have it at home for a week. That completely freaked me out. But I also want to back up a little bit here and tell you that I was told it would be about 3 to 5 incisions on my stomach would be what it would take for this robotic surgery. It turned out I have 9 incisions. There are 5 on my stomach, 1 the belly button, 2 on each side of that. The top crease of my legs, there's 1 each there, and that was for preventative measures in case something happened with my heart. So they just put the incisions there. I'm not sure if there was a tube there or what. And then down at the bottom area, there were 2 there. I guess they went through that way to put the sling in for the bladder mesh. And they squirted glue on top of all 9 of those, and those were not even an issue at all. It just felt funky having the glue there, I guess. And it was a clear glue, and after a while it just itched a little bit, but the incisions were not ever a problem for me whatsoever. Catheter, however, was. Finding out that I had to get used to something that I feared so much and wear it at home was a bit scary. But nonetheless, the time in the hospital was fine. I ate normally and everything. And the thing that they had told me ahead of time, which was more important than I realized, was to take a stool softener each and every day. I'm going to for the rest of my life. But prior to surgery, I started that a couple weeks ahead of time, and that was a very smart idea because that's something that if you have a problem with and you have to strain in any way, you could do a lot of damage in there from all the surgery that you just had done. So I asked quite a few different people in the medical industry and the doctor and the surgeon just how or if it was damaging to take a stool softener each day, and he said the rest of my life to do that. So that's just part of my daily regimen. I do that now, and it helps a ton because I assume that from having my 2 babies and straining in other ways, that's probably why I had the droppage and the leakage problem. So, take that with you. If you have any problems in that area, then don't be afraid to take stool softeners. Not the laxatives, but a stool softener. It's very, very good idea to do that. I stayed in the hospital overnight. The next day I went home with the catheter, kind of slept on the couch because everything was hanging off the right side of my leg. I taped everything over that way, and it was very uncomfortable. The catheter scared me. I kept watching the bag to see how clear I could make the bag, I guess, how clear I could make everything. So I was drinking quite a bit, trying to keep the infection from happening because they said that most likely I would have an infection from having a catheter in because any period of time, I guess you just can't keep it clean enough. I use all kinds of squirt bottles and warm water and soaps and wipes and everything I could possibly think of. And in a week I went back and they said that they took the catheter out and they said that there was still quite a bit of bruising on my bladder, so they put it back in. So I had it for about another week and then went back in. He took it out. Thank the Lord. That is so uncomfortable. I can't say it was really painful. Sometimes it was. When you sit down, it's kind of painful, but mostly just horribly uncomfortable. And you didn't feel like you could go anywhere with the bag, hanging off your side or whatever. And the leg bag didn't do me much good at all. It felt like everything was back flushing all the time. I just wanted everything had to stay, away. So I had the actual big bag that they have in the hospital at my house. And I suggest to do that because the little bags just don't hold much and it's just a lot of stuff to mess with, and it's easier just to have the bigger bag. And I had to ask for it because they encouraged the leg bag, but it just didn't work for me. Felt too funny. And it kind of got painful sometimes with feeling like the urine was back flushing, and I didn't like that. So I went back in, they took the catheter out and said, let's just see how your bladder works. It was probably within a day I realized that I wasn't going to the bathroom like I should. Very tiny stream, dribbly, just nothing like I had gone before, and it was kind of terrifying. So I kept calling them there and saying to the nurses, something just doesn't feel right. I'm not going like I should. I'm afraid I'm backing up. And they said, well, it just needs to wake up. After having the catheter in for so long, you just need, your bladder needs to wake up. And because it was bruised. And so I thought, well, okay, that makes sense. Probably the mesh made it a little tight in there or whatever. And that's kind of what it felt like. Everything was so tight that it wasn't coming out right. So maybe it would just loosen up with time. Well, the 4th day came, and I knew something serious was going on. I was sick. I felt feverish, but had no fever. I just didn't feel good. So I went to an urgent care, and they had to catheterize me again, and they got nearly 2 liters out of me after I had already gone myself. They extracted 2 liters out of me via catheter, and they said, you could have died because that, urine is poison. It's bad stuff. You need to get that out of your body. And so they told me that I had to put a catheter back in and go back to my surgeon. Went back to the surgeon, and his recommendation was for me to self-catheterize at home. And when I tell you that that completely tore me apart, that's an understatement. Catheters, like I said, had always been such a huge fear of mine, and now to have to do it myself, I can't tell you how long it took me in my bathroom at home to actually do it for the first time. I was terrified. And I want to tell you that the self-catheterization is a piece of cake, and I'm not just saying that. It was easy. It didn't hurt at all. You just have to go slowly, make sure it's lubed up really well. And they gave me kind of the Cadillac of catheters. It came through the mail, and it looked like a mascara tube, and very small. I wish I would have had one with me to show you on the video, but I don't think I have one with me. But anyway, it looks like a blue mascara tube, and you unscrew it, and it's already got the lubrication on it and everything. And it's about as long as, maybe a little longer than mascara tube. And it's a third of the size of the Foley catheter that was in me before. And when he was teaching me how to self-catheterize, he was using the Foley catheter, and that was very uncomfortable. But the self-catheters are a piece of cake, and I'm not just saying that. I am terrified of things like this, and after my first time of doing it, I feel so much better. I am now down to, I catheterized probably, let's see, my surgery was 2 months and 9 days ago, and now I'm down to catheterizing in the evening just before bed, just so I don't have to get up all night, feeling like I have to go. But I'm doing a lot better. But I just kind of wanted to let you know that don't fear self-catheterizing, because it seriously doesn't hurt. You just have to relax and go very slowly, and all of a sudden the urine starts coming out. Everything is, you feel tons better when that happens, and it just really isn't a painful thing, and I feared that more than almost anything. So feels pretty good knowing that I survived that, and I think I'm on my way up now. All the incisions healed fast. I don't feel really anything different. Sexual activity is quite different. I've only tried that a couple of times, and like I said, it's quite different. I'm going to have to probably get used to, not sure how to say this, probably have to get used to, the lubricants a little more, and trying to relax a little more. A lot of stuff went on in there, and I know it, and I've done a lot of Googling and watching videos, which that was a dumb thing to do. You don't really want to know what you think you want to know. And I found out what all was going on in there, and so I've kind of spooked myself by realizing what all they did, and I keep that in my head, and I need to get that out a little bit. So I think with time, things will go back to normal. Like I said, I've done a lot of research, and they say that sexual activity can be even better after, one of these hysterectomy surgeries, and I'm hoping that that's, going to be the case with me. Right now, I'm just nervous and just can't really relax yet, but I'll get there. So hoping that this helped ease some minds out there. I know that if I would have seen a video like this, that might have helped me a lot. I just didn't know what to expect. I knew of people that had the hysterectomies, and it seemed like a pretty easy thing, but you have to understand that when they get in there, they can find things out that you weren't expecting, so just be prepared for that. I had no idea I had cysts on my ovaries, and they took the ovaries out. I had no idea I was going to go through menopause in a minute, all of a sudden. And let me tell you, hot flashes are real. I thought it was just some old people saying they were hot, and I'm like, yeah. Oh my God, they are so real. I wake up at night because I'm sweating to death, and I'm suffocating with heat. I have to throw the blankets off. I have a special fan beside my bed that I can turn on, and it blows on me immediately when I feel this way through the day. I can't wear sweatshirts anymore. Hopefully that'll go away, because I like sweatshirts. Can't wear them in this Indiana weather, and I just get too hot. And when they come along, it's like a freight train. You can't really stop it. So be prepared for the hot flashes. Like I said, there were a few surprises in there. I didn't know my bowels were on the wrong side of my body. They moved those over, and actually it helped things work in that aspect better also. So there were quite a few little surprises, and they were scary surprises, and I'm here to tell you that everything looks like it's going to work out, and that the catheter is seriously not as fearful as I thought it would be. The surgery's over. I feel like things are going to be great. It's the dead of winter now, and next summer I think everything's going to be so much better. I'll be able to do so much more and not have that worry of leakage and that weird feeling that something was falling down, and it was just a big old mess. And now everything's over. I'm healing. No more bruising on the bladder, I don't believe. You do urinate differently. It acts differently. I mean, I went like crazy before. Now it's, like I said, it's a lot different. Smaller stream, and hopefully that will loosen up with a little bit of time, and things will get back to normal. Anyway, kind of getting windy here, so I will let you go, and hopefully I helped some of you out. If you would please like this video, comment below, ask questions. I'll get back to you, whenever I can, and the best way that I can, try to make you feel better about your decision if you choose to do this or if you have to do this. Hopefully I helped you out a lot, and I will see you next time. Thanks.